Hello, my name is Matthew Fox, and I'm author of this small book called A New Reformation, Creation, Spirituality, and the Transformation of Christianity. I wrote this book a few years ago because I really feel that Christianity has to wake up, that we're going through a very profound historical and cultural shift and transformation as we move from the modern era to the postmodern era. And remember that the Reformation back in the 16th century was really launched by a modern invention, namely the printing press, in the late 15th century. So the Reformation was a religious response to a technological invention, namely the printing press. And of course it launched an entire new era in religion and certainly in Christian history with the emergence of the Protestant traditions and the response from the Catholic Church of the time. Now today, we're living through technological inventions that are greater than the invention of the printing press. And by that I mean the inventions that you could generally date to the 60s and beyond of electronic media. And now we've got the iPods and the iPhones and all of it, computers and all. All this is tremendously huge shift in consciousness and possibility. Is religion in any way responding to these inventions as it responded in the 16th century? Well, first of all, let's recognize that a lot of religion today is dead in the water. A lot of ritual is boring, and I think the key reason is that modern worship is based on text, because that's what the modern conscience was about. When the printing, they mentioned the printing press was about reading texts. And literacy is a good thing, but it's not the whole thing. And today, young people born in this postmodern time, are more interested in images than texts. They're more likely to be operating a camcorder than having their nose in books all the time. So there is this big shift in consciousness, and religion has to undo its excessive marriage to text and to think more in terms of context and new technologies. Another parallel today to the 16th century Reformation is that at that time too there is a new sense of global awareness. Nationalism was coming to its own in the 16th century. Now, today we're moving beyond nationalism to a sense of global consciousness. And of course, again, technology, the internet, the web, and so forth has helped to hasten this whole process of thinking globally and not just locally. And spirituality and religion has to respond to this invitation to broaden itself and wake up. So there are many parallels between our time and that of the 16th century. Much of Protestantism has run out of steam today. In fact, it's turned its power over to the fundamentalist wing, which is extremely literal and anti-scientific, and is not the future, but in fact is a reversal. It's a return to the past. And unfortunately, a lot of Catholicism is doing the same, calling for a return to the past instead of really launching out into the deep waters of the 21st century. So Christianity itself has to wake up, and I think that just as Luther brought about an awakening in the 16th century, Luther and other reformers, so we today are responsible for waking ourselves up, for developing new forms of worship that are postmodern, that don't have us just sitting in benches reading and being read at or preached at, but get us dancing, for example, moving our bodies, employing the wisdom of young people who do rave and know something about celebrating through dance, which is a far more ancient way to pray, a more pre-modern way to pray. Postmodern time will respect pre-modern wisdom and practices, and that's why there is so much to learn from indigenous peoples as well today. So I too have come up with 95 theses, which is what Martin Luther pounded on the church door in his day. In fact, I went to that very door in Wittenberg and pounded my 95 theses up. And I think that they speak to some of the issues of our time and how we will reinvent religion and reinvent Christianity. Everything from welcoming science and its teaching about the 14 billion year history of the universe, to, as I say in the very first thesis, recognizing that God is both mother and father. And the feminine has to find an equal place in religious consciousness and spirituality, along with the masculine. We have to bring back the balance of yin and yang if spirituality, religion, and the Christian tradition is going to be healthy again. So I invite you to take a look at this book, short that it is, A New Reformation, Great Spirituality and Transformation of Christianity. I think that it's time that all of us commit ourselves to something new, which is also something very ancient. And it's time to throw off some of the forms, the modern era, that are no longer serving us. We should not make idols of forms. Forms are not something frozen and absolute. What counts is what's going on in the heart and going on in the heart of the community. Struggle for justice, eco-justice, gender justice, racial justice, economic and social justice. That's the heart of what any authentic follower of Jesus would want to display as the heart of Christianity today. Thank you for listening.